Hello. Thank you so much for watching. This is a 5 Alive. Yes, this is a 5 Alive, and it will be a power packed 5 Alive because I have a lot of information to share. So I want to stay on target, stay on pace, not a lot of comment. First off, I thank you for watching. I thank you for sharing. And I want to apologize for you, as I did in the last video, the 5 Alive, the last 5 Alive, it was called or entitled the Fab 15. That video, YouTube removed several of the URLs so that way you would not be able to confirm nor verify the stories. I am apologizing for that, though it's something that YouTube does as a way of censorship. I want to apologize to you for that. I am priding myself on being able to provide you with the information, and if you click on there and it's not there, then I feel like I have to apologize for that. And so YouTube censored me, and because of that, I am not able to provide those URLs. However, if you want the URLs, please send me an email or reach out to me by message on YouTube, and if you give me your email, I will send you those URLs so that way you can confirm and verify those stories for yourself. So I am going to go ahead and get started. I do apologize. I want to start with a scripture, and that scripture is from Proverbs chapter 20 verse 15. It's from the King James Version, and it reads, "There is gold and a multitude of rubies, but the lips of knowledge are as precious as jewels." So I'm going to read it again. There is gold and a multitude of rubies, but the lips of knowledge are a precious jewel. And to me, that is saying that you got riches all over, gold, rubies, all kind of things. There are so many riches. You can have all the money in the world, but when you have lips, a mouth that's full of knowledge, then that is more precious and as precious as a jewel. And right now, in a time where truth is not common, to have truth and to have knowledge, it is very precious. And so I pride myself on being able to provide you with truth and to provide you with knowledge, and I hope that you feel the same. So I wanted to start off with that scripture. That is Proverbs chapter 20 verse 15, King James Version. Go ahead and start with number one. The number one story is the Senator John Fetterman. He is jokingly saying that he will sell body double merchandise. So I started off with this as a number one because I think it's pretty funny. And I don't necessarily, I know that that's his intent, to poke fun and say that people are saying that he is a body double, so he wants to maximize on that and sell merchandise of a body double. But to me, it's almost like, are you admitting the truth or are you trying to poke fun? You decide. You take a look at him in his state 6 months ago and you look at him now. Looks a little different, sounds a little different to me. You can listen to him and decide for yourself in 2 seconds if he's a body double or not. But I will say this, there are a lot of body doubles on these streets, so pay attention. So that is number one story. Number two, a woman ate tilapia, and after eating the tilapia, she had to get her limbs amputated. So there's a lot here with this poor woman. We pray for her, the fact that she had to have several limbs amputated after eating tilapia. Now, I'm going to say this separately from her, and I'm talking to you. Foods are filled with GMOs, genetically modified organisms. They are filled with them, all right? That's number one. Number two, tilapia is not a real fish, all right? I don't care what restaurant tries to dress it up, and they can dazzle it and sprinkle it and dash a little bit of that and dash a little bit of this and fancy it up, but it's not a real fish. It is genetically engineered in a lab of death. And if you eat it, every time you eat it, you take a chance because you really don't know what you're eating. It's not that it's farm raised, it is farm raised, but it's lab grown, it's lab created, and those are the things that you need to be focused on. The fact that it is a genetically engineered and created organism, a fish that is man-made, it's not natural, and so when you eat these things, you don't know what it will do to your body. All right, so that is what I want you to know. I feel very sad for this young lady, and I hope that you would extend your prayers to her, that her limbs grow back, because God can do miraculous things, and that she is restored, most of all. But to you, I want you to start researching what you eat. I want you to start praying over your food. I want you to start praying over your body. And I want you to do it every meal, every time you take a drink. When you're drinking water, do it. If you're, eating fast food, if you're eating your own cooked food, pray over your food, please. Okay? Pray over your food and pray over your body, and know what you're eating. Do the research to know exactly what you're eating. So that is number 2 story. Number 3 story, the International Criminal Court, their computer systems were hacked and they were shut down. Okay, so this is a big deal. I bet that you didn't know that internationally there is a court. It is. So every country has their own criminal system, but then internationally there is a criminal system as well, and their computers crashed, and they crashed because they were hacked, and so they didn't have a choice but to shut the computers down. So there was a targeted cyber attack on the International Criminal Court's computer system. And what's very interesting about this story is not me telling you that there are international criminal courts. Maybe you knew that, maybe you didn't. But the more important aspect of this story is these people want everything to be digital. They want everything to be online. But then at the same time, all the systems are capable of being hacked. So it's like, why would you want everything to be online? Why would you agree to this? Why would you desire this? Why would you even want to put every single thing about you online when it is hackable? So that is the number 3 story. International Criminal Court was hacked, and their system was hacked, and because of that cyber attack, they had to shut those systems down. So to this day, I'm not even sure that their systems are back up, because I don't know if you know, but MGM was also hacked, and it took them a while to recover. A lot of the hospital systems in this country are being hacked, and it's taking them a little bit of a time to get back on schedule, to get things working properly after those hacks. And God knows what they have to do in order to get their systems back. I haven't even began to do the research on that. I'm almost sure they're probably selling their soul to get their system back up. So anyway, that was the number 3 story. International court system, their criminal court system was cyber attacked. All right, number 4, U.S. poverty rate. So we all, you can drive by and see that there has been a change in your communities. Doesn't matter what community you're in. And so this story is the U.S. poverty rate has increased, and it is the highest it has been in 13 years. And so I want to give you a few little facts that have come out regarding this survey that is done, this research from it ended last year, so these are last year's numbers. And so what we know is the poverty rate has increased. It's the highest in 13 years. What we know is the rate of children in poverty has doubled. All right, and then what we also know is that 45% of the adults between the ages of 18 and 29 are now living with their parents. They're not living with their parents because they love them so much. They're living with their parents because they can't afford to live on their own. So if you think about how old you are, and you may have said you were out and about you left your parents' house at 16 and you've been on your own. Well, if you were a 16-year-old or 17 or 18-year-old trying to do that now, you would not be able to do it because you wouldn't be able to afford it because it is so expensive. And so in order for the person not to be destitute, they are living with their parents. And that is something that is alarming because, yes, a lot of countries do this where the whole family is staying together and they all for multiple generations. That's nice if that's what you want to do, but that's not why these individuals are staying at home. They're staying at home miserable. Most of them probably are, because they cannot get out and afford things on their own. So just because they're staying at home doesn't mean they're richer. It means that it's just another person in the household, and it's a part of the poverty cycle for many of them. So just keep that in mind. I have the stories in the description box if YouTube doesn't snatch them. So I'm a little upset about it. But anyway, number 5 story. A F-35 jet was lost in South Carolina. And I don't know if you heard this. It was all over the news. They were lost, and then this jet was lost, and then it was found. So apparently the pilot ejected himself from the plane, and then the military, they did a 2-day stand down of jets flying. So it was just a lot of stuff that was connected to this. And then they finally claimed that they found the plane. I have so many questions here that I would ask for answers for, and if I were anybody and I got so many questions that were not answered in all of these multiple stories that came out about this. But what you need to know is that a F-35 military jet was flying in the air, and then it was magically lost, and then it was magically found, and then they kind of disappeared on talking about it and moved on to the next story. And so no words were given on, not much was given on the cause, on really what happened. And this is almost like the Chinese balloon floating around. The stories just kind of get swept under the rug and you don't hear it anymore. But it sounds to me like this is a practice for something else happening. So something else here, and I'm not really sure. I do have the article in the description, so take a look at it. What I noticed in the article is that the author claims that the person that they spoke to said that the jets don't often work, or these F-35s often they don't work. So I'm thinking to myself, if that's accurate, then why are they flying them? Why are they in the air if they don't often work? Why would we have the top military in the world. Why would we be flying these and they don't often work? So that is number 5. Number 6, because I told you I got to go over. Number 6, and I got to move fast. The debt defaults have increased by 176% for United States companies. So I'm going to read that again. So the debt defaults by U.S. companies has increased by 176%. And so what this means is that there is a surge of corporate debts. That means that businesses that you love so much, that you patronize, are defaulting. And there's a surge in these defaults and what you can expect from these defaults. And I can tell you that we've already started seeing it, and I'm going to point it out to you. So what you can expect from defaults from corporations are layoffs, big layoffs, and we've been seeing those all year. You could expect store closings to occur. So stores in your neighborhood, closing with no notice. You can expect bankruptcies, corporate bankruptcies happening. Now, in other news that is related to this, you already know about the UAW strike that is going on. And so this organization is striking, and I didn't really want to get into it, but I will. They are striking because they want more money, and they want a lot of other things that they feel that they should get, and they're sticking together to do that. And the corporation is saying, well, we're not able to give you those things because we have been mandated to make things electric, and we don't have the money to do both. So this is where it's all boiling down to. So when you have the administration that goes and sides with the people who are striking, isn't he the same person that created the whole mandate to be electric? So it's kind of like a circle of crazy, but that's neither here nor there. You need to know that they are still on strike. It's been 2 weeks. You also need to know that GM last week laid off 2,000 workers. You also need to know that the national debt, this nation, the debt has increased and crossed over last week to $33 trillion. So those are some things that are related to corporate debts and defaults, but then also individual losses, because if the corporations are defaulting, then what does it mean to the workers? It means that they won't have work. It means that there won't be money in your pocket. It means that stores will close. It means that you won't be able to get those things that you may need for you and your family. So it is all cyclical. And so I want you to start thinking about the bigger picture. It's not just the big bad corporation here and they're standing on their own and it's all about them. Everything affects everything. It's like a domino effect, and you are in the midst of that. And so certain things you are in the know for now, so that you can start praying against certain things. So start praying that God opens up doors for those individuals that were laid off. Start praying that the corporations get some great financial strategies that are not taking advantage of the customers and not forcing the customers to bear the brunt, but they actually come up with some better strategies for lowering the prices for things, but also being able to fulfill their product and the services where they can benefit and make a profit as well. And then also pray for the states that they're in and the federal government that is making sure that they put a lot of laws out there that will modify or change things as they were. In this case, electric vehicles are being pushed, and because of that, the workers are not able to get a lot of the things or have a lot of wiggle room that they would want to. The actual owners of these businesses are not able to give the employees a lot of things that they want, so they don't have a lot of wiggle room because they need the money to be able to accommodate the mandates that are being set before them. So just start praying about that stuff. Pray about it, and then also pray about this national debt that has crossed over to $33 trillion. It seems like it's just like nothing and it doesn't matter to you. It is a really big thing, because if you were in debt for $33 trillion, just imagine what that looks like to somebody else. Who's going to loan you money? Who's going to do business with you when you're $33 trillion in debt? Think about what that looks like and then what it really is. All right. So, and pray about it. Okay. Number 7. These stories towards the end are getting real good, I gotta tell you. But the Pope sounds the alarm on the global catastrophe. This is what he called it. And so last week he just went on a rant. This Pope went on a rant and just started talking about all this crazy chatter. So I'm gonna walk through a few of the things that he said. So he already started off by telling the people, whoever he was talking to, whoever's listening, that there's a global catastrophe happening. And then he said that the world is on the brink of nuclear war. All right. He also said that humans have opened the gates to hell to the climate crisis. He also said that you have no fear of immigrants. So those are 3 things that he's chitter-chattering about. And in a nutshell, in regards to the immigrant aspect, he thinks, this is what he's saying, that you trying to protect your property and the borders is fear. So he believes that, and he's talking to these countries saying that, you don't need to have fear of immigrants. You don't have to protect your borders and your property. That is fear. But I'm going to ask the question, and I've been to the Vatican before, inside the Vatican, in Vatican City, and the Vatican isn't open for immigrants. They are not just laying up, staying now. I haven't been there in a while, but I can assure you that they're not open to have immigrants who are crossing over into these countries just flood the Vatican like he is saying. If it's true that no one should be afraid, obviously nobody is afraid of an immigrant. Nobody's afraid of immigrant. What you want is to be able to protect your property and your belongings, and you need to have their borders because there are boundaries. And in every state, since the beginning of time, if you have property, you are staking claim to that. You don't just let somebody else just run through your property and just run through and take claim. You are able to set your borders and set the lines, draw the line. It's been like that since the beginning of time in every country and every nation. So the fact that this guy would say this thing, I know he's the Pope, and I know somebody's going to turn this off and be upset. Okay. But the fact that he would say such a thing, to me, just, my question is, well, if that is the case, then open up the Vatican and let the immigrants come and hang out and stay there and live there with you. I know you're not going to open it up because you don't believe what you're saying. That's number one. And then two, my thing is, when are you people who are following this guy going to uproot this dude? Like, when are you going to turn him off and stop listening to him? He's spouting off stuff about this whole climate lie and all of this stuff about the nuclear war and just all kind of crazy stuff. And some of this stuff he might be privy to, and he may know it. I believe that he has been compromised, and he's speaking out of being compromised as a globalist. So that's just something that you need to consider. If you're listening to this guy and you're following him, you need to follow the book, the actual book, the Bible. You need to follow the Lord Jesus Christ, and you need to sift through with this guy, filter what he's saying through the word. All right. And I believe you're going to come to the same conclusion that I have, that he's been bought and he's been paid for and he's been compromised, and he is one of them. He is a globalist, which is why he is concerned about the things that they're concerned about. And those top things are that they're pushing: climate change, nuclear war, no borders. The only problem is none of that applies to him. It doesn't apply to him. He's not letting immigrants or whoever just run up and through the Vatican. No, he's not. He's not concerned about climate crisis when he goes all over the world in a plane that has, gas. No, he's not concerned about it. He's not mentioning that. So, I don't think that he cares about God, and I don't think he cares about you. He is spewing out all of the lies that the globalists want him to spew. And take it to the Lord. If you don't like what I'm saying, okay, take it to God. Number 8 story, New Zealand. This one is New Zealand. The former Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern. I hope I'm pronouncing her. I know I'm butchering it, but it's Ardern. So she was the former prime minister, and I know that you probably saw her on TV, and she was always talking and, she was like a family woman, had a husband and kids, and you look at her and you like, oh my gosh, she's so innocent. She's just like one of us. No. So she is the former prime minister, but she still has a role with the globalists. So she's saying that free speech is a weapon of war. And so certain things, when you hear it, you know who's the puppet, and she's one. When you hear it out of their mouth, you hear things like that about climate change, you hear about free speech and democracy, then you automatically know what you're dealing with. If not, you should know what you're dealing with. And here is a prime example. So in her words, let me just read it. After all, this is her quote, after all, how do you successfully end a war if people are led to believe the reason for its existence is not only legal but noble? I don't even know what she's saying there. How do you tackle climate change if people do not believe it exists? I told you. How do you ensure the human rights of others are upheld when they are subjected to hateful and dangerous rhetoric and ideology? She says that your free speech is dangerous rhetoric and ideology. So that is in quotes. So this is what she believes. She's basically trying to tell you all these lies. Everything she said is a whole lie. I'm just, you can do the research. It don't take much for you. It would take you about 32 minutes to find out that what she said was a lie. And then it would take you really 30 minutes, and the other 2 minutes is to decide very fast that she's trying to censor you. And so, with that, I'm saying to you, we have already been down this rabbit hole, trusting other people with information who are in leadership, and that trust has been broken. And when you hear something like this, you should know that it is lying. You should know that the person is a puppet. You should know that they are a globalist and they are pushing a certain agenda. Don't try to hide your face or go up under a rock. This is real, and it is happening, and certain people are pushing certain things. They're pushing rhetoric, foolish rhetoric, and ideologies that are not good. And so she's one of those people. Now, what I want you to do is be on the lookout for your local politicians in America to steal her words. They're going to paraphrase. They're going to take her words, and they're going to put it in their words, and they're going to tell you, and you better be on the watch, have your ears open. They're going to say the only way to, and they'll fill in the blank, is to have democracy, is to censor free speech. They're going to say the only way to have democracy is to censor free speech. That's what they're going to tell you. And you're going to laugh because you heard it here. You heard me say it, and you're going to be like, that's what he said. That's what God said. Be on the lookout for when they tell you that in order to get to democracy, then they will censor free speech, because that's really the target. Shut your mouth, shut you up, so that way they can fulfill whatever their definition of democracy is. And democracy is not that. You should be able to speak in a democracy. They want to censor your speech. That's not democracy. So anyway, this is something that you will most likely see in America. She's in New Zealand, but you're going to see the same terminology here. And then I want you to do a little bit more research and go and read the book 1984 by George Orwell. And that's going to let you know that censorship is real. They want you to be a robot and just to everything they say while they lie to you and keep lying to you and think that you're not going to get it, and they keep changing things up. And this is one of those times. So I want you to go ahead and do your research, have your ears open, read the book from George Orwell, 1984, if you haven't done so already. And then you can decide if what she is saying, that people do need to be silenced. People do need to shut their mouth. They need to be silenced, and they don't need to speak because it's rhetoric and it's ideology and they're pushing hate. So anybody could say that it's hateful terminology and hateful ideology and hateful words, but we all in this country and pretty much in other countries get the opportunity to share those things. So anyway, she wants to stop that and censor you. Be on the lookout. Number 9 story. Now, I told you a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it's been about a month or so, that the Neurolink, the Elon Musk's company, had been approved by the federal government, our federal government. Their trials to put a chip in your brain had been approved, okay? Now I'm going to tell you something more exciting about it. So, I already told you that a chip has been approved for your brain. Now, what's so exciting is they are looking for guinea pigs. Yes, Neuralink is right now looking for guinea pigs. Applications are opened, and it's available for you to put a brain chip implant. Okay, so you can go ahead and get that. It's available for you to get this brain chip implant implanted in your head by Neuralink. And guess what? You can click on the link below to find out more as I said before, applications are open for all the dummies that are interested in moving forward and allowing a chip to be implanted in their brain by Neurolink. And I want to say this, that all of the monkeys, they did the research and they said pretty much all of the monkeys that had this chip implanted in their brain, they died. So that, go figure, they're pushing something that's been approved and the monkeys died. So just think about that, if you decide that you want to complete that application and be the first, because some people love to be the first. I was the first that got the chip implant. If you're that person that loves to go and do such things, go for it. Go ahead, look at the article. It's going to let you know exactly how you can reach out to Neuralink and see what's it going to cost you with them putting that chip in your brain. So number 10, Finland, they test the digital passports. Now, Finland is a country and they're very excited. Oh my goodness, going back to wanting to be the first. Everybody's climbing to be the first. Everybody wants to have their name or their country solidified in history. And so Finland is here, small little Finland. They want to be the first to do this pilot project to promote these digital passport. So they're doing the testing. Their country is being used for it. And what this means is to you is less privacy. So it's more privacy invasions. It's more tracking. It's more surveying. It's more release of your freedom to travel. So it is you not being able to travel. So you would be releasing those freedoms to them when you are in approval of this digital passport. I don't care how it's sold. That is what it will do. Okay? Now, rest assured, though this is Finland, America will jump on board. If it is successful in Finland, there is going to be a lot of hot girls that are going to be disappointed next summer and a lot of guy trips that will fall flat. I can tell you that, because once it's implemented and they get you all excited about it, then they're going to put the clamp down on you and you won't be able to go 10 miles unless you register with them and you're approved by them first. So you thinking about going to another country may be out for you. 10 miles, if you can even go 10 miles in your neighborhood. Number 11, the Secretary of Education has said that he has little respect for misbehaving parents that behave in such a way at school board meetings. And he said they are acting like they know what's best for their children. It's kind of like fighting words to me. So this guy, who also in the past has encouraged drag queens to read to kids during story hour and do lap dances. He's in approval of drag queens doing lap dances with children, little children. I don't care if they were teenage children. He's in approval of that. It's obvious that he is deviant and that he wants to strip you, if you're a parent, of your parental rights. And so he is saying to you in this article that you'll read in the New York Post that he has little respect. If you come to a school board meeting and you want to fight for the rights of your children, if you think something is unfair, he has little respect for you. In fact, he doesn't even think you know what's best for your kids. How he gonna tell you? You birth them, you feed them, you care for them. But this guy who don't know you and don't know them is going to tell you what's best for your kids. Well, I got news for you. They had already said this earlier this year, that your children belong to them, or something like your children is everyone's children. It was something to that effect. Go do the research on that. That's a big thing with these leaders now, where they are taking claim over your children and they know what's best for your kids, and they say you don't know that. So think about it. If you hear these words said, don't take this stuff lightly. It's for real. They're telling you what they believe. So don't take it lightly. It means something, right? Go to God and find out. Now, as far as I know, from a biblical perspective, you're the steward of your kids. If it's otherwise being said, then you need to challenge that. And the number 12 story, and this is the last story. This is a good one. I saved it for last. Zelensky, I told you, let me tell you what the title is. He called for a witch, Maria Abramovich, Maria Abramovich, to be the ambassador to Ukraine. So now I'm just gonna call her Maria, the witch. But anyway, I told you last week in the Fab 15 that Zelensky was gonna come here to America, that he was gonna talk to Congress, he was gonna talk to Biden, and he was gonna pimp and pander the U.S. for more money, and he did. You saw the news, you saw the videos, you saw that he was pimping and pandering, you saw that he was saying, no, we need the money, the war will, okay, you saw what happened. And then you also saw more money, even though we're $33 trillion in debt, we crossed the limit last week. You also saw more money, billions of dollars were promised to this guy, even though we're $33 trillion in a deficit, even though it's not our country, it's not our war, this doesn't have anything to do with us. So, but I told you that that's what he was going to do, and he did so. And so, also, weapons that were originally said would not be given to them were promised. So, Biden just promised more billions. He promised more weapons, that more dangerous weapons to them, which he had originally said he was not giving to them. Now that, all of this comes out about Maria being the ambassador, I'm like, oh, I see what happened here. Somebody got a little head sprinkling, little Beetlejuice to happen to him. And because of that, they're just giving away everything in America, and so that's the only explanation that I could come up with, where you would be saying that you're not going to give the weapons, and then the next thing you do, you do. You could see that we're trillions and trillion dollars in debt, and then the next thing you do is give up billions of dollars how do you have the billions when you don't have the trillions and you're in a deficit? Okay. And so now it's obvious, right? It's obvious what's going on. This Zelensky has been consulting with the witch, and it's the same witch that Jay-Z and Beyonce use. Now, you, one of them fans, one of them that's all over Beyonce and Jay-Z, and you getting powdered up in the lip and swollen in the chest about what I'm saying, go do your research, because they're friends. She is known. They go to her when they're about to put an album out, and she does her little witchcraftery, and you buy her music. And you buy his music. And so with that being said, I know you love them so much, but that's going to be between you and God. Or you're going to have to make a decision at some point, if you haven't already. Is Beyonce and Jay-Z your God, or is God, Jesus, your God? I don't know. And so for some of y'all really have made Beyonce and Jay-Z your God, but that's neither here nor there. Right now we're talking about Zelensky telling the world that he is going to make a witch the ambassador of Ukraine, a known witch. Okay, so a known witch. He's going to make her the ambassador, a lady that spirit cooks. If you don't know what that is, go look it up, and don't get too deep. Pray over it before you go start doing all the research on that foolishness. But she spirit cooks. She drinks blood, and she is a known Satanist. Now, he not only said that she's going to be the ambassador of Ukraine, he wants to rebuild the school system with her, use her to rebuild the school system. So what you think? She gonna be over kids doing what? If you don't stop being a Satanist and stop drinking blood and stop spirit cooking because you're around kids. No. So that is going to be something. Now, what's worse about this story is that they're trying to use your tax-paying dollars in America. You live in America. They want to use your tax-paying dollars to further this evil. Now, if he wanted to consult with this witch and he wants to make her the ambassador of Ukraine schools, he can do whatever he wants to do. I think it's horrible, but Ukraine is not my business. It's not your business, because we're in America. This is our business. Right? But the reason why it's our business is because our hard-earned tax-paying dollars are going to them, and we would be funding that foolishness. So I say no to that, and I say you need to really pray against this. You need to join me in prayer. In fact, right now, in the name of Jesus, I declare a cease and desist of all of our money going to them for any type of Satanist, in any type of witchcraft, in any type of anything that's involved with her or him, because the fact that he would even be consulting with her is a problem. But now I know that's why he getting everything he want. All these countries are, under this whole spell here, I'm thinking. But anyway, I pray that prayer that it's a cease and desist of any of our money going to them. In the name of Jesus, I pray. And I want you to join me in declaring that as well. So again, this is about declaring and decreeing and being able to stop things before they happen, and knowing that's why God is letting us know and allowing us to think about certain things, so that way when we hear it, we think about it and we can go to him for prayer strategies on how to improve the nation, how to improve our families, how to move forward as a United States. All right. And so we know that the United States is very pivotal in other states, their growth as well. We do know that. And we're not trying to not allow those things to happen, but we definitely need to be praying about what we do in the future and who we partner with. So with that being said, I want to end the video here. I pray for you as you hear these things. I hope that you pray that the enemies, their plots, plans, and schemes fail. I hope that you take these stories to God and you encourage and uplift those individuals that we talked about, the young lady with the amputated limbs, and the other stories, if they're doubles or whatever it is. Ask for more exposure and more people to be exposed, and for righteousness to abound. All right, so please do that. Have a wonderful day, and until next time, good people. Bye-bye.